Y'all ready for this?
There's a good chance that you are not yet ready for this. But just consider it an overview, and when you get to the green belt level of playlists, most of this is going to be covered at around playlist 27, and that would be CB Contract Bridge dash 27. But don't just jump in there yet. If you're an experienced player and you're looking for more information on this, that's where you go. If you're brand new, I suggest that once again you talk to whoever your instructor is, or whoever it is that's informally teaching you, perhaps as a mentor at a club, and find out if you're indeed ready for this. But this will give you enough that you'll kind of know what's going on at the table if you venture into a stratified open pairs game, which I encourage you to do. Just as an aside, it's well known that you will develop faster and learn more as a bridge player if you compete in the highest level of game that will actually let you in. In the old days, that was at the rubber bridge table for money. And when you started reaching into your pocket at the end of the game, not to put money in, but to take money out, you tended to learn pretty quickly. Unfortunately, we don't have that available now, so you've got to go into an open pairs game, usually at a club, to get started, and get slapped around a little bit. And that's normal and that's good. If you're not willing to do that, you're not going to learn this game very fast. It's okay to play in what I call the kiddie games, anything that starts with 0 and ends with less than 750. But don't be a point chaser. Don't stay in those fields just so you can collect lots and lots of master points fast. Your master points won't really mean much. You go in and you compete in the open games at a regional, or the stratified open pairs, or the actual open pairs at a national, and then you're going to learn, and you're going to learn fast. You're going to have a whole bunch of bad results when you first get started doing that, but you'll learn faster. If you don't have a partner who is trying to learn at the same pace you are, then you're sort of handicapped. I would suggest that you find somebody, assuming you can afford it, find somebody who is a professional or semi-professional bridge player, who is not at the highest levels, because that's expensive, but somebody who's making a partial living, eking out a few fees for teaching bridge and for some playing sessions, and those playing sessions should end up with going over the hands and finding out what you did well and what you maybe did badly, or where you really need some improvement in study. Those are highly profitable games for you. Yes, you will be paying for them, but that will come back to you tenfold. With that, we'll get started. Start with a little bit of a review. Notice that your partner has opened in spades and you have 5 of them. Don't blindly bid to the level of the fit. In other words, don't just jump to 4 spades. Your hand is actually too good to do that. Yeah, I know, but you have a half a quick trick in the club suit, and it's also a doubleton, and with 5 cards in your partner's major, including the queen, you're not really quite sure how to value that doubleton in the club suit, but it's a pretty good hand. You also have the Jack 9 in the heart suit. Those are fairly big cards. So I think in this particular case, you should just bid 2 spades and see what happens. You can always go to 4 later. If partner passes 2 spades, you're probably in the right spot. This is almost a limit raise, believe it or not. Here's another one where you were first learning about law of total tricks, jump to the level of the fit bids. You might have looked at this and said, oh my goodness, let's just go right to 5 diamonds. Well, that's a good way to make your partner crazy, because poor partner doesn't know what to do from there. Probably is going to pass. An aggressive partner might just bid 6 diamonds on spec, and of course that's not always a good thing to do. So here's a situation, even if you're playing the system called 2/1 game force, where you can fib a little bit and just bid 2 clubs and see what partner does next. Okay, we've got all the hands showing now, and our left-hand opponent has decided to jump into the auction with a takeout double in the sandwich seat. Sandwich between 2 hands that have previously bid. It's not a wonderful thing to do. Usually I like to have 15 plus high card points to do that. He might have bid a spade, but that would conceal the heart suit, not a good idea. So I don't fault the double, I just think he's a little bit light. But folks are bidding lighter these days, so it was his turn. Now what's your partner going to do? Well, your partner had his right-hand opponent passed instead of making that takeout double, would have bid 3 no trump with that hand, I believe, after your 2 club bid, showing at least 10 in standard, or a full opening bid game force in 2/1 game force. Remember, that was a lie, but it was a good lie. Once in a while you have to. So North probably would have bid 3 no trump, but in this case probably, who knows. Hang on a minute. Helps to hit the right keys. 2 no trump, and who knows what right-hand opponent is going to do. This would be a much easier hand if East-West were vulnerable and you were not. They would be a little bit more cautious and you could be a little bit more aggressive, but it is what it is. So we shall see. And hang on just a second. From this point, who knows? East might have done something other than pass, but with that pass, I think you should bid 3 no trump and a shot. If East had bid some number of spades or hearts, you could always retreat to the diamond suit. So you have a lot of options. Whole point in this is, if you just jump right to 5 diamonds, yeah, you're going to block the majors for sure, but you're also going to shut out partner who might have a duke over there. Your partner might have just something just shy of opening 2 clubs, and you just put him in a terrible position because you have an enormous hand with a 1 diamond opening. Or it might be trash. You just don't know. And that's the point. Find out. Here's the hand where you can trot out that law of total tricks game jump. Partner's open to heart, and your right-hand opponent has entered the auction with a 2 club bid, normally showing 5 clubs, and they should be reasonably good clubs. And most folks Non-vulnerable will do it as light as 10. Other folks like to have a little bit beefier hand, maybe a queen more 12 or king more 13. But I've seen it done with as little as 9 if they like their hand and maybe have 6 clubs to the ace queen jack 10 or something. But the point is that East has entered the auction, so you know that the odds are pretty good that this is not a slam type of hand that we're going to have. Could be, but probably not, especially since you have a doubleton club. But you do have the king, and you do expect that that king is going to live, probably on a finesse type of play. But you have the 5 hearts. Partner has also shown 5 of them, and so this is the hand where you would make that jump immediately to 4 hearts and let them figure out what to do. Now I'm going to go ahead and open this up, and you can see all the hands. So if they take their ace of clubs and 3 diamonds off the top, then we're going to be down 1. If not, we're going to make 4. But the key is that they're not finding anything to do, and poor West doesn't know if he should go to 5 clubs, pass, or double. I mean, it's a terrible position to put West in, and that's what you want. Now, I'm going to show you one other thing since we're here. Teachers tell your students to put their hands on their ears and cover their eyes if you don't want them to look at this. But North has a perfect Flannery hand. I think it was Bill Flannery developed this particular bid to show a hand with 5 hearts and 4 spades and 11 to 15 high card points, which is exactly what you have here. You also have a stiff 3 of clubs, which is nice. But the objective of this was so that that opener did not have to reverse if his partner, say, bid a no trump. The spade suit gets concealed in that case. This was all the rage in the 1980s and into the 1990s, but it's fallen out of favor because folks have realized that it's just not a problem if you know how to bid. But this is the hand that is a Flannery 2 diamond opening bid. It's conventional. You open the bidding 2 diamonds, and in order to do that, you give up your weak 2 diamond bid or your multi 2 diamond bid if you're in a jurisdiction that allows, or in a game that allows multi 2 diamonds. And I'm way advanced for you now, but I'm talking to you as though you actually wish to be a bridge player. So we're kind of giving you a little bit more information, too much information at this point, but you'll run into this, and that's what this looks like. I don't recommend Flannery. I think it's a useless bid. I think there are better uses for a 2 diamond opening bid. You may find one that you like with your partner, but I think Flannery wastes the 2 diamond opening bid and is unnecessary. But I thought I'd show it to you since we were here. Now we're going to go on and look at, before we start with major suit raises, we're going to look at minor suit raises. Most of our discussion time on major suit openings, but I did want to do a little work on the minors first because I need to show you that certain things are on in the minor suits that we might have discussed before, but I deliberately didn't. So let's start out with this particular hand. Partners opened a diamond, the opponents are being nice, and it's our turn. Well, we have a diamond fit. We certainly have enough for game, in terms of value. We do not have a 4-card major, and we do not have a hand that can immediately bid no trump. So we have to make some sort of raise in the diamond suit. But how would we do that? 1 diamond, 3 diamonds is a limit raise. 1 diamond, 2 diamonds is just a normal raise, 6 to 9, bad 10. Well, the way we do this is by bidding our 4-card club suit at the 2 level. And we're going to do that. Now, this is a forcing bid. It has been new suit by an unpassed responder when the auction has not been interrupted by no trump and neither party has limited his or her hand. So this is forcing. In standard, it's forcing 1 round, and generally South promises 1 more bid, unless circumstances dictate otherwise. And in 2/1 game force, this is forcing to game. So the auction can continue from there. I'm going to stop for a minute and open it up. Okay, and I brought the auction forward. I think North has a pretty sound 2 no trump bid after the 2 club bid by South. And at this point, South looks at his hand and says, I don't think we've got slam in this thing, since North has not indicated any interest in that. So we'll just go to 3 no trump, and it should pass out from here. Now, what I wanted to do by opening this up is kind of let you look at and understand a couple of principles here. This hand gets easier if you're playing 2/1 game force, because there is no doubt as to where this auction is going. It's going to game. Question is just where. And usually when a minor suit is opened, you look for game in a major, and barring that, you look for game in 3 no trump, because 3 no trump making 4 is a better score than 5 of a minor making 5. And 3 no trump is generally easier to make than 5 of a minor, because you have more tricks you can lose. You can lose 4 tricks in 3 no trump, but only 2 in 5 of a minor. Now, the other thing that you want to look at here, and this, we're just going to touch on this. I'm going to talk a little bit about inverted minors. What somebody figured out, I think it might have been Marty Bergen, but he gets blamed for a lot of things. I don't know who it was. I didn't look it up. Maybe when I do a video on inverted minors, I will. But for right now, the whole point of inverted minors is to swap the meaning of 1 diamond, 3 diamonds, and the meaning of 1 diamond, 2 diamonds, or 1 club, 3 clubs, 1 club, 2 clubs, so that the lower bid level, say 1 diamond, in this case 2 diamonds, would indicate a limit raise or plus in the diamond suit, and it would also convey no 4-card major, no ability to bid no trump immediately. But I do have at least limit raise values in the minor suit that you opened, with support, of course. That frees 1 of a minor, 3 of a minor, to be preemptive. Same conveyance of information, no 4-card major, no interest in no trump, but it's actually can be a lighter bid. It can go down 3 or 4 points. Some people play it all the way down to 0. I don't necessarily recommend that, but the more cards you have in partner suit, the more aggressive you can be. But it basically says I have no interest whatsoever in going beyond 3 of your minor partner. If you proceed from here, do so at your own risk and based on your own hand. So some people call that perverted minors. Even if your last name is Epstein at this point, I would not recommend that you go directly into that until you have given it far more study. Generally speaking, if you are playing 2/1 game force, you should be playing inverted minors as part of that. It's generally expected. If you are playing standard American yellow cards, standard American, standard, whatever you want to call it, inverted minors are not part of that and probably shouldn't be added. A lot of people tack on things to standard American like forcing no trumps and inverted minors and all sorts of gadgets, and all they do is wreck a otherwise reasonably good system. So I would not recommend that you pervert your minors at this point. Just do them the normal way. But I wanted to show you that you could use a forcing bid at the 2 level to set up what happens next in your auction and make sure that your partner knows that you have some values over there plus support for his suit, and your support will show up in your next bid. Okay, I'm going to throw you another curve. This time we're going to talk about regular jump shifts. They can be played several ways. The old-fashioned way to play a jump shift was, I've got a really good 5 or 6 plus cards in this suit and about 18 or so points, and we'll see where we go from here. But I want to let you know I've got a great hand and a great suit. Your turn. Well, that comes up so rarely that a lot of folks, especially in the 1980s, 70s, 80s, 90s, started playing weak jump shifts, which basically said, I've got a ratty little suit over here and not much else, so we're not going anywhere, but I just want to kind of get in the way and tell you that this is where I live and we're not really going to go very far unless you've got a monster over there. If you play standard American, SAYC, you will probably not be using either of those 2 methods. You're going to use something called a Soloway jump shift, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. I'm going to open it up and complete the auction, and let's go back and look at the 3 club bid. Notice it's explained as Soloway jump shift, and there's not enough room in there to put everything in, so I just said ask. And assuming that they asked, what you would tell them is that this is one of 3 hand types. Either it's a old-fashioned jump shift with great clubs and about 17, 18 high card points, or it's that same range but 2 suited, perhaps a 5 card club suit and definitely at least 4 diamonds. In other words, the worst you could be is 5-4 with that 4 being in the in partner's opening suit. This is played over both majors and minors, but if it's over 3 clubs and you bid, let's say partner opens a club and you bid 2 diamonds jump shift, then you would have at least 5-5 in clubs and diamonds. The last thing it could be is what you see here is essentially a balanced hand with that point range. So we have 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, there you go. and a balanced hand. You do have a little bit of support for a partner, but that's not the two-suited, that's the balanced version. Anyway, this gives you a lot of different ways that you can describe a big hand when partner opens. Now, partner just bid 3 diamonds. You know, the auction is not going to go 3 diamonds all pass after that Soloway jump shift. So partner, I'm going to open this so you can see partner's hand. Okay, now you see partner's hand, and it's quite nice itself. 5 and 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. So 18 opposite 18. Got almost grand slam values here. So partner just doesn't know what type of Soloway jump shift you had. So he's going to just wait with 3 diamonds and see what you do next. Now when you bid 3 no trump, you say, oh, I have that balanced 17, 18-ish hand. Now if you guys were an experienced partnership and you knew that in this instance North's bid of 4 clubs would be Gerber, you could continue from there and see where you end up. But quite frankly, you really don't have the tools yet to do that. And at your level, the yellow belt level, remember, even though I'm taking you a little bit farther than that on this little magical mystery tour, 6 no trump should get you a reasonably good score. As you can see, 7 no trump is ice cold, but 6 no trump at your level, probably okay. And if you're playing in a field of 0 to 99er or somewhere in there, or your classroom beginning bridge class, just getting a 6 no trump with these 2 hands would be a major victory. Well, let's see what we can do to you next. Now we're going to turn our attention to a convention that was developed in 1963-ish, written about by Dave Cliff of New Jersey, whose picture I do not have, and Dorothy Hayden Truscott, yes, wife of Alan Truscott from the Truscott-Jordan 2 no trump fame. She developed her own convention called Splinters. And the Splinter is a double jump shift in a new suit, showing a singleton or void in that suit, and it should not be an ace or a king. In other words, all of your values that you're counting towards what you need to make the splinter are outside of the suit into which you are splintering. And in this particular case, you're going to splinter into spades. Now, 1 club, 1 spade would be a normal response. 1 club, 2 spades would be a jump shift. Strong or Soloway or weak, however you play them with your partner. So in this case, we have to go to 3 spades. This is alertable, and it's explained as a singleton and the range should be 12 to 16 in support. Some people play these unlimited. Generally speaking, they are played as limited bids. They show 4-card or longer support in the case of clubs at 5-card or longer support for your partner's opening bid, and a singleton or void in the suit into which you have jumped. Let me move this out of the way a little bit. You can see the explanation. So when you make these explanations, don't just write Splinter. Write what it is. Okay? So it's a stiff spade. Your points are outside of the spade suit, and you have a 4 or 5-card support in this case, since partner opened a club, and roughly 12 to 16 in support, counting your shortness points. So you don't have 12 to 16 high card points, you have 12 to 16 counting your shortness values, and you obviously are going to have shortness values since you have a singleton. Get rid of that. Now, you are allowed to splinter into a void. I don't recommend it. I think voids are just too strong. The way you show a void is to make forcing bids all the way around it. And eventually your partner's going to wake up and realize that either you had a stiff ace or king and therefore couldn't splinter, or you had a void and were too good to splinter. But again, if your partner should splinter into a void, it's not a mortal sin. If he splinters into a ace or a king singleton, that is close to a mortal sin, but let it go at the table and talk to him about it later at the club or at the bar. The bar's better. The whole idea of this is to limit your hand, to show a game forcing raise, but not much more, and to show where you live and that you have a useful singleton for your partner. And now your partner becomes captain and can guide the rest of the auction. You've said your piece. Okay? And here you've seen all 4 hands, and you can kind of tell 4, 8, 12, 13, 14, y'all aren't going anywhere. That singleton was useful because your partner now knows that you do have 5 clubs. You are going to have some roughing value. So here, because of partner's hand, he might choose to bail in 3 no trump because he's got that ace of spades. You know you're going to get a spade lead, but you can hold up a couple of times and then play your ace and see what happens. Or try 5 clubs, or if he's feeling lucky, might try 6 clubs. And as it turns out, 6 clubs has quite a good play. In fact, I think it's cold. I won't dwell on it there. You can look at it later. The way you would find out is by using your ace asking bid in a minor suit, whatever that happens to be. Or over 3 spades, you just pit 6 clubs. That's a rubber bridge technique. Doesn't give your opponents much information other than they're probably going to want to lead a spade. All right. Right. I could have included this material in the 2 videos on dealing with competition, either an enemy overcall or an enemy double. But I think it was too much there. It actually works for both majors and minors. And it works over both doubles and overcalls. So what you need to know is that splinters are on in competition. If you can make it, it still works. So here we have partner opening a diamond, right hand opponent overcalled 1 heart, and it's your turn. Do you have diamond support? Absolutely. Do you have 12 to 16 in support? Well, let's see, 3 for the spades plus 3 and 3 is 6 for the clubs. That's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. This is almost too good for a Splinter. But since it's a minor suit, I think it's probably the best choice of all the choices that we have available to us here. The alternative would be to just simply bid 2 clubs over the 1 heart bid, which is still forcing, and see what happens from there. But I think you can give partner a lot more information if you simply splinter in hearts. So 1 diamond, if they had passed on your right and you bid 1 heart, that would be just a normal up the line bid. 1 diamond, 2 hearts would be a jump shift, depending on how you play it, weak, strong, or Soloway. So 1 diamond, 3 hearts would be our jump shift. And since we have that useful singleton heart, let's go ahead and alert this. 12 to 16 in support, stiff heart. There you go. And what you actually write in there is just a matter of what you're comfortable with. Again, this is a little heavy for the Splinter bid, but I wanted to do a Splinter here just so I could show you that they're not in competition. Might be too heavy, but it's close. Close enough for our purposes here. Now let me just go ahead. We'll turn on all 4 hands. I think you like to see those. And you can kind of see that after the 3 heart Splinter bid, opener, who might have been interested in no trump, is no longer interested in that at all. I was going to try to do all of this in one video, but since we're already at the 40-minute mark, I think we're going to break it here, and we'll come back, we'll pick it up with the majors, and we'll start with splinters, just picking up from where we left off here, and then we'll show you some other interesting things. So we'll break it here, pick it up with part 2, and we'll deal with the majors there.